Top. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Hey guys, hope you guys are doing great. First, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to join the first section of the tech series in this fall. My name is Mintao. I am a second-year MAXI student, Master's of Arts in Computational Social Science. So I will be the host for today's tech session, and I will take charge of the remaining tech session this semester. So I'd like to first start off with a brief introduction of Data Science Professional Club. We are one of the largest student organizations in tech data science at UChicago. So what we basically do is to offer a couple of tech sessions throughout the semester, and also speaker events, panel discussion, and we also have some newsletter so as to share what's happening out there in the tech session related to data science affairs. And yeah, so a couple of items that I'd like to discuss today, I briefly categorized them into three topics: openings and timelines and preparations. I
I'm
also
sorry.
listed out. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Can you give me the co-host? Just click my name, right click, and then give me the co-host or admin, so I just need to mute some people.
But I don't know. How am I supposed to guess it and all at once? After all, an average number of 10 successes could come either.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
That's good. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, these are the three topics that I'd like to cover today, and also listed out some of the questions I hope to answer throughout today's tech sessions. So I want to briefly talk about the openings in terms of what companies are still hiring at this current time, and how do they differ? How does the data science position differ from companies to companies? And what is the general timeline to apply in terms of summer internship in 2023? And lastly, how should we prepare for some of the data science interview questions that could appear? Before getting into details, I'd like to reiterate about the key of this tech session. I want to just share some of the information that I collect throughout through my research and my own networking. For those of you who haven't started the applications, I hope to give you some pointers throughout this tech session and potentially get you started in a more friendly way. And for those who already start applying for jobs or already received interview invitations, I hope that the information that I would cover in this session will complement your knowledge and your information. That would be super helpful. I will feel really happy that could help in any sort of way. And again, me talking here just to set the ball rolling. If you have anything like to add, I would more than glad to have an interactive session. If otherwise, you can just take some time off from your busy morning, and yeah, let's dive in. So what company is still hiring? I kind of categorized all these openings into three sections: the tech industry, the tech companies, finance and banking companies, and consulting. So first of all, Microsoft. Microsoft opens a university high position called data and applied scientist. I think this is the only one that targets university students in 2023. But as far as I'm concerned, at least I don't receive interview invitation, and my networks Also, there's no one in my network that received invitation from a data and applied scientist position. But yeah, but I think this is one of the very few big tech companies that have a very official openings for university graduate students. For LinkedIn has a data science internship, summer intern openings, I think 2 weeks ago. And LinkedIn doesn't have any full-time position for university new grads in terms of data science, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, this is a great company. I love LinkedIn a lot. So I would really encourage you to apply for some internship if you found this is what you were looking for. And Figma opens both internship position and new grads in data science for 2023. And Tesla, Databricks. Yeah, one thing about Databricks is that I know some of my friends receive interview invitation from Databricks, so I think Databricks is indeed actively hiring people, hiring new grads and potential interns for 2023. And then Amazon, yeah, I think some of you may know Amazon has undergone some hiring freeze and layoffs in the several past weeks. But Amazon does have some openings in terms of summer internship, which I'll cover later. But what I have in mind is it has internships called 2022 Data Science Internship. And Amazon Robotics, this specific business line, also have a lot of openings recently on LinkedIn jobs. So I would encourage you to definitely check it out. But I don't think Amazon has full-time openings for university students, except for the business intelligence engineers. Google, same thing. Google has I don't think Google has full-time openings at this current time. Google only has a data science intern, which is open, I think, 1 week ago. It's pretty fresh. And TikTok, I think a lot of people talk about TikTok because TikTok is one of the very few companies that still hiring people in an active manner in this current market. Yeah, I can quickly pull up the career sites of TikTok. TikTok has opening in data science positions, the general track. Can you guys see the website?
Yep, it's visible.
Yeah. Okay, great. So TikTok has openings in data science in general track and also in monetization product. These are two great tracks that I would recommend you to apply. And I would also like to briefly talk about USTS. It stands for US Tech Services. This is basically an organization that serves for the compliance reason. The US government doesn't want people outside of the US to have access to US data, so that they kind of like analysts in China send data requests to the USTS, and USTS process the request and do some additional work. So a lot of people, including me, I wouldn't recommend you to spend huge amount of effort to ask for refer just for positions in this organization, in this business line, USTS business line. Yeah, but this is what it is. TikTok has a lot of openings, I think. Even though I don't think a lot of people who apply for DS position get a reach back from HR, partially because there's just too many applicants. But I did hear a lot of people receive feedback for the application regarding data analysts and machine learning engineers at TikTok. Yeah. And next companies, Autodesk, Roblox, Duolingo. I haven't received any feedback from Autodesk, Roblox. Oh, I was rejected by Roblox. And Duolingo, I think one of my friends received feedback from Duolingo asking for an invitation. So I think Duolingo is pretty active. You guys can definitely apply. Amex, Expedia, Wayfair, yeah. Expedia just opened internship position and new grads position in data science, I think like 1 week ago as well. And yeah, this is the openings related to tech companies for the next year in data science. And for finance and banking positions, first and foremost, Capital One always have a lot of positions related to data. It's pretty data-driven companies. But at this current time, as far as I'm concerned, Capital One only have openings in summer internships. And I think like, it's yesterday Capital One opens a position in new grads for, I mean, university new grads in 2023, meaning that you can hop on board next year, or like say summer in 2023. Most of the openings in data science or senior business analysts, senior data analysts at Capital One are targeting students that graduating this year who can hop on board like in 1 or 2 months. So if you're graduating next year, December, Capital, you probably need to wait until 3 or 4 months before your graduation to apply. This is the information that I collect from people working at Capital One. I just want to share with you guys. And BOA, JP Morgan Chase, Morgan Stanley, PayPal, yeah, these financial companies usually have openings pretty early. Yeah. And for consulting, I believe you guys have definitely have been very familiar with these companies and positions. Quantum Blacks have openings in data science, both in internships and full-time positions, as well as Gamma. And I believe these two companies are sending video interview invitations this week. So, but the deadline is still in December. So yeah, I would encourage you guys to apply. And also I have listed other companies such as Oliver & Romain and Deloitte, Booz Allen, PwC. Those are companies that I found they have openings explicitly say this position is for university graduate or internships in 2023, not just like people graduating this year. So if you're just new to UChicago, your expected graduation date is December next year, you can definitely check them out. Yeah. And the next thing I would like to talk about is big tech specifically. I didn't list Apple in the previous slide because Apple, unfortunately, I don't think Apple has openings in internship or university grads. If you are graduating next year, December, most of the positions, they don't have like a university positions for people graduating next year. But if you're graduating this year, I think you can definitely apply because most of the positions in data science are looking for people that can hop on board in 2 or 3 months. And Airbnb, I just spoke with a data science manager at Airbnb, and she told me that Airbnb just undergone a reorg June this year, and it kind of broke the data science organization into 2 parts. Some of the data scientists has been reorged into a centralized engineering organization, and some of and the rest of the data scientists have been titled as advanced analytics. The implication for this reorganization is that it's kind of tightens hiring. because they want the data scientists at their company to do more centralized jobs. And yeah, and I don't think there's a lot of opportunities at Airbnb. And in the past, Airbnb is used to like hire those experienced people rather than new grads, just like Netflix. And Meta, frankly speaking, I'm not super familiar with the dynamics in terms of hiring at Meta, but like I think I have I can't remember how many times like Mark Zuckerberg has announced it's going to slow down the hire and cut the budgets, something like that. At least so far, I don't see university hire in terms of internship and university graduate in the next year. Yeah, Google doesn't have full-time position in university hire, as we discussed before. So as Amazon only have internship at this current time. And I don't think Microsoft have a lot. Just like the only thing they have is just the data and appliance scientist openings. So yeah. So yeah, this is the current situation related to openings. Can I take any questions? Is there anything that you guys want to discuss at this current time before getting into the timeline? You guys can always type in the questions or anything you would like to say in the chat box. Okay, I will move forward.
Yeah, just one question.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you throw the light on the Airbnb situation a bit more? Like what's happening with the reorganization and like if it's advisable to apply there or not?
You mean to talk a little bit about the reorganization in Airbnb?
Yeah, you said something around advanced analytics and like would that be like apt for us to apply?
I can quickly pull up the website. I think I have Airbnb. To answer your questions, I don't think those positions are suitable or targeting university students. They just did another type of titles. They're looking for advanced. They're looking for experienced people to perform some advanced analytics job related to business operation. So something more closely connected to day-to-day operation rather than the traditional data science thing. But I don't think they have like junior openings or entry-level openings at this company. I like Airbnb a lot, but I don't, yeah. The information I collected through networking as well as the information that I collect through my own research tell me that it's not there are not a lot of opportunities out there for us junior data scientists, at least at this current time.
Got it. Okay, yeah, thanks. Even I like Airbnb a lot and just wanted to check what's happening over there.
Okay. All right. Oh, right. We have one additional question to discuss. I would like to share my understanding in terms of how does the data science position differ among those tech companies. A lot of people have categorized this position into roughly three tracks, and I think they make sense. So I just listed them here. The first is product analytics. The company that I listed here are the ones that they have very product-oriented, product-alike job descriptions. So if you are targeting product data scientists, I think those are the companies that you might want to check out. Meta, no need to yeah, model you guys are very familiar with. And Spotify, one day I just came across the job description related to data science openings at Spotify. I think they're very product related. The things they listed out include causal inference, A/B tests, opportunity sizing, user journey analysis, or something very product related and analytics related. And Quora is also a company that has data science, whose data science team is very focused on experiment design, as well as TikTok, Databricks. I think these companies, the data scientists at these companies will spend most of the time doing really the analysis job, sizing opportunities, evaluating whether we should do this product optimization or not. What are the potential downsides, something like that, rather than building advanced machine learning models or algorithms, something like that. Well, Apple and Microsoft or Amazon, Wayfair are more model oriented, at least from my perspective. I think one of the key reasons to this is that their business is really either related to hard tech or is very much data driven. And most of the e-commerce would kind of just like make their data scientists very much applied scientists alike. I have connected several people working at Amazon, titled data scientists, but what they're actually doing are modeling. I think there's no exceptions. Oh, there's one exception, and it's because they have applied scientists on their team. So the data scientists I connected, she works on something more related to analysis, but I don't think that's a general pattern. For companies like Airbnb, those two-side markets, those three-side markets, Uber, Lyft, PayPal, their data science is more like inference, which means designing complex A/B test experiments and tackle difficult experiment or causal inference problems. And decision scientists, marketing science, like a lot of openings at Google are this types. So the next thing I would like to talk about is the timeline. With my, I would like to, my personal understanding of the timeline is that we basically have two shots. One is at the fall this year. In other words, if you like to apply for summer internship next year, the first choice, this first opportunity you have is to apply in August or September at this current time. And you will receive OA and you receive technical phone screen, and then go to final round around December before the Christmas. And the second shot you got is apply in February or March, and then go through the hiring procedure next year. And then you get the offer around April and May, and then hop on board in late May or June. Most of my friends received their offers. Most of the friends who successfully got an offer for summer internship in May. So most of them, like, they don't get an offer, they don't start apply in February and March, and I think it's really okay. So if you haven't started applying or you haven't get ready yet, please don't panic. I think that's totally fine. At least from my observation, my small sample observations. And I'd like to also talk about the difference between these two rounds. The first round, I would say, is more related to the general hire. In other words, HR is the people who organize the entire hiring procedure rather than the team. The specific people you're going to work with are organizing the hire, which is the case in the second round. So this implies you probably don't have to spend huge amount of time and efforts networking at this current time just for a general hire. Say, like if the opening is titled as 2023 university hire, then it's probably a general hire organized by HR, and refer, although it's gonna be helpful, but it's not gonna be that much helpful, personally thinking. Well, for those team hire, if you're directly approached in say February or March by the people who are titled as data scientists or hiring managers, then yeah, those are team hires, and I think referral in that sense play a lot more important role there. The third topic is preparation. And again, please feel free to chime in and let me know if you have anything in your mind. What are the types of data science related questions? I think there are basically three categories. The first one is, again, for tech companies, they will have online assessments related to SQL, legal algorithm, or even data challenges. And then you will have technical phone screen if you pass the online assessments, something related to SQL, pandas, machine learning, and stats. You'll probably perform answer the questions via technical phone screen. Sometimes you don't answer questions via phone call, you're answering questions through Zoom meetings and typing SQL questions on CodePad. So you probably want to also practice how to explain your thoughts, how to
and even here
structure.
it is cumulative. So
yeah, go ahead.
I think that was just someone in class forgot to mute.
Oh, okay.
We're good.
All right. Yeah, so basically in the technical phone screen round, you will expect to be answering questions via CodePad if the HR told you that, hey, this is a SQL round and we're gonna test your ability on how to write data queries. And the final round, usually you're gonna, it's gonna be a tough day. You're gonna answer product related questions around, and like 10 minutes later, you're gonna answer some project related or business question related, or even stats, machine learning related questions. For companies in finance and banking industry, I think they're a little bit different, but not a lot. They will have online assessments, and most of them are gonna focus on SQL and legal questions. Some are related to Pipe Matrix, which is the gaming websites, and test your personality, something like that. And then, at least in this current hiring season, a lot of companies like JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, and Bloomberg and UBS are asking you to do a one-way video interviews. So they will like you to record your answers, such as why this company and why do you think you're a good fit, something like that. And if everything goes well, you will be moved forward with the first round video interview and then final round interview. The hiring procedure for digital consulting is pretty much the same, except that I think McKinsey, QuantumBlex, and McKinsey Analytics, BCG Gamma is more inclined to ask to send you online assessment related to pandas, stats, and LeetCodes rather than SQL. And they sometimes they also send you one-way video interviews. And how to prepare. For SQL, I would highly recommend LeetCode. This is a great resources. And also check out some of the past interview questions asked for the positions you're gonna apply for, you're gonna interview for. So do check out some websites like Strata Scratch or a Glassdoor for path interview questions, I think this is the most efficient way of preparing SQL. And once you think hey, I'm really good at SQL, I'm just want to, if you just want to practice to present your logic and the structure, you can like watch some of the videos by Tina Huang, Interview Curie, Data Science J. These guys made really good videos in terms of real sessions and SQL interviews. A LeetCode algorithm, I'm currently using LeetCode, which is a website that kind of organized the questions on LeetCode into different categories, say binary search or 2 pointers or something like that. So a strategy to practice LeetCode questions is to go through the easy questions under different categories and then gradually move towards medium level. Because I think for data scientists rather than machine learning engineers, you're not gonna like see questions like LeetCode hard level. At least I don't think that's a good way to test applicants. For A/B tests, I would recommend Udacity A/B test courses. This is very famous courses, and also Medium, because I think Udacity A/B test is pretty much an introduction level course if you want to learn A/B test. It's a great resource, but I don't think it's gonna be enough for your interview. I would recommend you to check out some articles on Medium, or even the Trustworthy Online Control Experiment. This is also a famous book, because some of the problem they're gonna encounter during industry, say network effect and insufficient statistical power, how do we reduce the variance, are not covered in the Udacity A/B test course. And those are definitely something you can, something you will earn an additional points in an interview if you say, hey, I know these stuff. So we recommend you check out those articles on Medium and also this book. In addition, I will probably cover a topic related to A/B testing, a tech session in the following, in the rest of the fall semester. And the fourth type of questions related to machine learning and statistics. StratoQuetch, this is as we discussed before, I think a more efficient way is to just look at past interview questions and start preparing, prepare those questions. I think the ROI is higher in this way. And if you would like to prepare these questions in a more structured approach, then I would recommend Introduction to Statistical Learning. This is kind of like a introductory book, mainly focused on intuition rather than those scaring mathematical deductions. So I think this is really great. In the last part is Product Sense. At least 4 sources of reference. The first one is StylePeers. I believe you guys are familiar with this site. This is like a very rich website if you want to get a sense of the structure. The good thing about this is it basically have almost every types of questions listed out there. But the downside is like overly comprehensive. It's definitely impossible to say, I'm going to say this first and next and next and next. So, and then if you kind of read too many articles on StylePeers, there are risks that you fall into that kind of blindly follow the framework. At least I was the case. So I would recommend you also check out those videos on YouTube and mock with your friends, and also the product science part and the collection of data science take-home challenge. So just to get a sense of what's like in an actual mock interviews. So what is the more natural way to present what you have in mind, and what's the more effective way to lead the entire conversation rather than like make your interviewer feel that you're blindly following structure. yeah, so that's basically what I want to cover in today's sessions related to job openings and timelines and preparations. I want to pause here to see if you guys have any questions or anything you'd like to discuss at this current time. And again, I would like to be more interactive sessions because I'm not like right now I'm a senior data science working in industry. I'm also an aspiring data science like a master's student just like you. So yeah, basically I would appreciate or welcome any questions that you may have. And in the meantime, I'll post the Google sheet that includes the openings here. So we kind of organize the openings at this current time related to the new grads positions and summer intern positions just to help you get started. If you already start, yeah, I hope like this could also help in any sort of way.
Wow, wow, wow. Mr. Ming Tao. What a nice presentation. Honestly, that doc sheet, insane. And I hope everyone here, I know we're not here live, but I hope everyone here can applaud to what he has done here. It is a lot of research, a lot of hard work, and the amount of effort he has put in here is definitely something that even we here as co-presidents admire. Some of the stuff that he has presented to us.
Thanks,
Just I want to make sure. So there is one thing in there from a timeline perspective, not timeline, preparing for an interview. I think he touched upon it just a little bit about the tech session as well as the first round of interview where they ask you a little bit about why you want to be with the company. Some companies outside of consulting or big tech, the big fours like Apple and stuff, other companies that I personally have interviewed like Nike, as well as these culture-based companies. Sometimes there's going to be behavioral sections that you have to pay a lot of attention to. So if that is something that a lot of you guys want to hear about, we're more than happy to host a session mainly talking about behavioral, because that is like companies just like Nike, like Riot, a lot of gaming companies, they pay attention to these behavioral aspects, and sometimes that's important. But I want to open the floor to you guys and see if you guys have any questions for Mingtao or us. But other than that, like what he has said, this is a community. This is not like a teacher-student situation. This is a community. We all are in progress in pursuing of a position that we want to pursue. So we are more than happy to discuss with any type of topics that you have in mind. Yeah.
Oh, and in the meantime, I just shared the link to join our Slack channel. So in the future, if you have any questions or topics you want to discuss, feel free to shoot a message within the channel and we'll reply. And any other student can do that too.
So sorry, can we ask questions now?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Great, guys, thank you so much for the presentation. It was really helpful. I was just genuinely curious. We do have a lot of help from the career services here at the program when it comes to resumes and cover letters and stuff like that. But I was wondering, I know you guys are obviously very busy too, but if you are open to grabbing some time to just like go over individual applications and resumes and cover letters and maybe give some tips on that.
Hey, Daniel, is that how you say your name?
Yeah, spot on.
Awesome. So when it comes to resumes and cover letters, we, like I said, previously, I was a recruiter previously. I'm more than happy I'm more than happy to kind of help you and see tips and stuff. But like I said, none of us are professionals in this area. So you're more than happy to just reach out to us personally. And we'll be happy to see if we can take a look, if we have time to help you look over that resume. But
Great.
as a club, like we don't provide that service. We do,
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like that's a little bit more, we're getting into the wheelhouse of the career services a little bit. But like I said, we're more than happy to provide some type of resource from that perspective, from our own personal time.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that.
I had a question. First of all, thank you so much, Minta, for this presentation. I think it was really helpful for all
You're
of
welcome.
us. My question is more to do with the cover letter. So I have been speaking to a few seniors who've been able to acquire jobs now in the current sector in the DS space. And according to them, cover letters don't pay that much importance whenever the CVs are being filtered out, primarily because nobody has the time to read those 2 or 3 paragraphs that we're writing. So according to you, how much importance should we pay to cover letters? Because that in itself is a long process, right? Like cover letters are supposed to be tailored for each and every internship. So just wondering if we can sort of skip cover letters for certain internships. What do you have to say about that?
I can take the questions and feel free to add on my points. Just to answer your questions, I personally don't prepare cover letter for those tech companies as well as financial companies. I only prepare I only prepare a cover letter for digital consulting companies such as McKinsey and Digital Gamma. These are the 2 only companies that I wrote cover letter for, because I have to balance the return and cost. Just like you mentioned, I have to tailor cover letter for every company, and it's going to be attractable if I prepare a cover letter for all tech companies, or even just the top Google, like Amazon, Apple. I don't think that they matter that much.
I'm going to add on a little bit about that. So as a previous recruiter, I'm just going to be honest here. I don't read the cover letters personally. But here's the thing. I think rule of thumb, 2 things what Mintal said was really important. First thing, if you love the company, it's your dream company, of course you want to write a cover letter. Even if it's 1% or 2% of chance of them reading it, if they do get to read it, great, perfect. Second thing, rule of thumb, if it's a company that matters a lot with culture. What I mean by that is you see their pages, you see in the past that their interview questions are focused on culture. These type of companies tend to want to read cover letters. And a lot of culture-based companies, like startup companies, would really want to read that, just because there's a lot of competition, and the people they want to hire in, they want to make sure they're here to stay. And I get that experience from applying to different types of gaming companies, and they really look into that. But like I said, especially like what Mintal said, you kind of value that risk and return, reward and return situation here. So it's really up to you. But if you feel like it's a company you don't want to apply for, or if you feel like it's a company that you're so for, yeah, doesn't really matter.
Got it. Thank you. Thanks for that answer. I think I have one more question, and that is more tailored towards data science roles in the social sector. I don't think we have a lot about them, but do you know anyone from the DSPC club or somewhere else who can give us more insights into social data science roles, for example, at World Bank or the UN, etc.? Yeah.
I can take the questions, and yeah, I do have some of my friends who are targeting that specific concentration, but me personally, I don't have a lot of expertise in that. But I think one useful way is to like just connect via LinkedIn and also serial alumnis. Yeah. Ken, I saw you unmute yourself in the beginning. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think adding on top of that, like you said, I don't think we have personally, I don't think we have anyone at the DSPC club that is in that field. It definitely is a really interesting field for social sciences. But like what Mingtao said, I think at the end of the day, when you're trying to network with someone, you just have to acknowledge that they're human as well. And that means both ways. First way, meaning that they're not that hard. They're not going to be hard to talk to, right? If you can talk to me and if you can talk to Mingtao and you can ask that question, I assume you can ask that same question to the person on the other side of LinkedIn. It's a double-edged sword. Also, at the same time, because they're human, you have to respect their time. So I wouldn't spam them and go like, hey, can you do you have this time to connect and do you have time to do this? Of course, I think you would know that, but sending a message over through to people who you feel like is great to connect and see if you have a chance to connect with them on LinkedIn, I think would be the great resource, the best resource that you can find from a social science perspective, since we don't have much of that here.
Understood. Thank you so much.
Yeah, even I had like one question. So, Minto, first of all, thanks for the great presentation. It was really insightful for all of us. You gave a lot of resources for prep. Do you have like any recommended strategy for them also? Because like we have a lot of coursework which is going on, and like how did you guys generally all the external studies and like for example going through lead code and stuff during your first year?
My bad. My internet went bad for a second. Are you are you asking about when is a good time to go to like legal questions
Yeah,
in
and like
first year?
yeah, or in case like you have any general strategy which you guys like use during your first year, because like we have a lot of coursework and all also which is going on in parallel.
That's a really good questions. From my personal experience, okay. So here's my case. I'm targeting product DS, product data science. So I didn't spend a large amount of time and resources on lead code, especially algorithm questions. So if that is your case, I would suggest you kind of prioritize your coursework as well as like product sense, SQL, stats, machine learning, stuff like that. But if you're talking to general DS or even model DS, I think you can start preparing like legal algorithms, stuff like that. Because I think the algorithm thing is not something you can like achieve within 2 weeks. It is something that you need to spend time working on it, because otherwise you're gonna just stress out because you have that many questions and those are not super easy ones. You don't want to be discouraged and also feel super anxious. So that's my take. If I were you, if I were in the MSCA program, the first year MSCA program, I would probably like focus on the coursework for the first semester while also preparing SQL and product sense, because product sense is also a long-term thing. But start preparing, get on algorithm questions probably like during the winter break or starting from the winter or something like that. I wouldn't spend too much, like give algorithm a very high priority. That's just my personal take. Well, because on the other hand, I just want to give you an additional piece of perspective is that I also feel that most of the online assessment is about algorithm. So Python algorithm is kind of important. It's just that how do you balance the two? Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, this is super helpful. And just like one follow-up question, do you think it's a good time to activate LinkedIn Premium if you want to connect with more people, or the normal LinkedIn should do?
Personally, I think this is a long-term thing. You can start networking people even with no specific purpose, say asking for referral. You just want to connect with people in that organization that you want to work for. And then when the opportunity comes, when there's opening out there, you can just send a message to your connection. So I think you can start to work on that now. And like, I think I would suggest you to spend only a small portion of your time to send connection requests through LinkedIn at this current time, because that would not stress you out. It wouldn't like take a lot of the time that you would otherwise spend time on the coursework or preparation, but it can help. It can like get you started. I think it's really important for you to have such momentum.
Got it. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Guys, if I may, if the dynamic is like more geared to being, more for us being able to approach you and ask you questions along like of the classes you would recommend. We have this class, Your Career in Data Science, and speaking informally, would you recommend this class or long term? Like, did you get something valuable from it? Because if of now, it just like seems like it's a lot of work and not really a lot is clear. So I guess if you have some opinions on that.
So that class came out last quarter. I didn't have a chance to take that. And I think Alan didn't have a chance to take that as well, right?
Yeah, we do have a friend take this class last quarter, and I think just based on her feedback, it's more like a systematic way for to like prepare like job hunting in terms of resume and how to like networking and stuff. I think it kind of depends on yourself. Like if you want to do your own research, you can definitely do it yourself. But if you want to have a more clear guidance or a more efficient way to do it, I think you can take the class. But personally, we haven't taken the class ourselves. So yeah.
Got it. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah. So it's been roughly around an hour. If you, like I said, we'll still be here for just a little bit more. But if you guys don't have any questions, feel free to log off. One thing, Friday, we have a summer intern insights. So we have a few people who successfully grabbed an internship position at McKinsey, Meta, Bain and Company, Clorox, Accenture, some of these consulting companies, and they're going to kind of share their insights on how they obtain their intern, some of the tips that they usually don't do or they usually don't want to share because it's like their personal tricks. So it's pretty cool. So Friday at 11 is going to be when the session is. Alan and I will definitely be there as well. Feel free to come. I will. It should be in your newsletter, but I'll also send it here in the chat. But like I said, yeah, feel free to log off. But if you don't have any questions, but if you do, feel free to ask right now.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah. So sorry, just like one more question. Are you guys aware if like Tesla is hiring data scientists right now?
I think I did.
Yeah,
Yeah, they are. Okay. Thank you.
Hey guys, I had a question. I was waiting. It's more might be like specific to mine, and I know Ken, you said you were a recruiter, so maybe I can get your thoughts as well. First of all, thank you, Mental. This was very helpful session. One question I had was, I think sort of confused. I actually have 3 years of experience. Was lucky to work full time. I was already promoted right before this job, already a senior level. Trying to figure out, is internship the right way, or should I just speed through this course, go right back? I already sort of have a offer from my old company to come back whenever I want. So of course, if I get like big tech internships, I felt like it's easier to get into than full-time roles. But just wanted to, if you guys can shed some light on if you have experience or know someone who's done this before. Just want to know someone who's done that.
So yeah, so I'm going to do a little bit of recruiting talk here. So if you don't mind, you can open your mic. And if you don't, do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So what made you kind of like want to go to this master's program?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've been thinking that myself for the past couple of weeks after the stats class, but no, so I think a couple of things, right? So I came here in 2015. I'm an international student. I did my 4 years of degree in computer science, got through my OPT, STEM OPT. So of course, I didn't aim for H1B because I just wanted to go back to a master's degree.
Okay.
I'm not sure if analytics was the right option, but still interested in data. But most of my previous experience in product. So what made me do this program again? It's STEM approved. Of course, it's a great university. Hopefully, will carry a long way. But more focused on being a data-driven product manager, right? That would be my end goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of like the biggest things of coming here is to extract type of data skills or technical skills that you didn't necessarily have before. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, cool. So what you said you've been currently promoted to your new job, right?
Yes. I mean, I had to quit because, I'm international, so I can't work and study, but
makes sense.
That was the last thing. Yeah.
And you say they might have a chance of definitely wanting you to bring you back?
Absolutely.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So that project or that new profession that you have obtained, that promotion that you have obtained, is that technical? Is that something that you like to do?
I did. I mean, I work with the engineering team. There was no focus on data, and like I was trying to bring in, I would try to get a buy-in. It was a startup company, so it's smaller, right? 10 people. So I have some say in what we do. And I'm hoping that the data knowledge that I gain here, I can go back and apply. That data knowledge into that startup. So yeah.
Definitely. So based on this, what I am hearing from you is you're coming to the MSCA program because you want to get some type of data knowledge and continue your data profession. And the reason why you quit your job is mainly because of that, because of you wanting to get into a data, like kind of like that data technical side. And you feel like getting a graduate degree will get you more of that knowledge rather than staying in your current job, getting that promotion. So it's great that you have kind of like that backup offer. That's something that we usually call leverage, right? Okay. So you can use that leverage to find other opportunities. So during this, what I personally would recommend is because you do have 3 years of experience, and who doesn't like money, right? So because you have that 3 years experience, I would definitely look into full-time more than just internships, and look into full-time opportunities that has a better that has a better direction of what you want, meaning that product data side, what Mintao kind of was talking about, right? Like that product data science side of full-time, rather than looking for an internship. Because if you are going to look for an internship, that drop of wage is going to go down by quite a lot. And honestly, if a resume, on a resume perspective, you go from full-time, graduate, intern, and then during that intern, you lose your opportunity with your past employer. If that happens because of how long you take, that's not a good sign as well. So like I said, I personally feel like you definitely have a better chance of getting that full-time opportunity than just an intern, because even from my perspective, hiring you as an intern would be overqualified unless you're going into like one of the big four techs. Like if you're going to like a product data scientist for like NVIDIA or something like that. But if you have the ability to do so, I definitely recommend full-time.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, Ken. I appreciate the help. And
No
thank you
worries.
again, guys. This is super helpful. I'm thinking of ways, I can contribute. So I'll chat with you separately. I have some people I can bring in as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Anand. I appreciate that.
Can I ask one final question?
Yeah, feel free.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, thank you guys for hosting this conference. I think I learned a lot. And the question I have is, I don't have that much of previous data science related experience before. So I'm kind of panic and worry about like job searching and stuff. I just wonder, do you guys have any suggestion for me to do the job searching? Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to try to help you with that. So do you, when you mean by you don't necessarily have the experience, is you like your bachelor was totally different, or you were working on a different job that was totally different? Just want to have a better understanding.
Yeah, so my background is I had my undergraduate degree in UC with agricultural consumer economics. So which is quite different from data science. And also like my previous work experience. So I graduated in 2019.
Cool.
And I took like
just like me.
Yeah, so I took gap years. But I also I worked in a bank before, in a bank in China before, as like a banking manager kind of type of job.
Okay.
So like it's more like writing reports, like talking to companies like that.
Okay.
Not necessarily any technical stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to try see how I can better prepare for the job.
Definitely. So first thing, I think what Mingtao has talked about, you definitely want to prepare from a technical aspect, right? That you're entering a technical concept, you're entering in a technical community. So you definitely want to hop into see Alan, no worries. You definitely want to hop into the technical world, like what Mingtao was talking about, like looking a little bit on the leak code side, looking a little bit on the stat side. That's important. And if you are stuck, it's okay. Take it slow. You can start by looking through an internship more on the junior side that is going to kind of help you transition from your current job to another. So what I'm trying to say basically is I'm basically was your same shoes. I was in the same shoes that you were in. I was a recruiter. While recruiters, I know how to talk data. I know how should I say this? I know how to interact with data people. I didn't do anything that related to data, meaning I don't know stats. I don't know computers. And I personally, had a really different career path. Compared to what a data science career path looks, right? Like a lot of people in their bachelor's would take stats or honestly some type of analytics or even computer science and then move into data science when they're coming to masters. I had a business background, like a pure business background. I was a recruiter for 2 years. And when managers look at my resume, they're like, what is this guy doing in data science? But I can tell you this for sure. If you on your resume put some type of projects, which you will, that you're going to do in MSCA, and then you're going to understand a little bit about stats. You're going to study hard a little bit about stats, a little bit about SQL, and you're going to communicate and talk with people like me or like Ming Tao or like Alan. You want to belong in this community and grow in this community. I can promise you for sure, when the intern series comes around in February and March, maybe not right now because you don't have that on your resume, you definitely still should try, but during February and February and March, when that round of intern comes through, you're going to try your hardest and try to find one. Even at that point, if you still can't find an intern, there's Kaggle, and Kaggle. I don't know how people say it, but there's projects online that you can do to improve that resume. This all sounds scary. This all sounds like a lot to do, but if you schedule these out, organize them well, like I said, I was in the same shoes as you were. You'll definitely you'll definitely find that transition point in your life of finding that intern or full-time for data. And if you need any help, feel free to connect with me. I'm more than happy to kind of share insights on how I did that. I was scared as well, right? Like people next to me, like, oh, they do a self-introduction. The whole row next to me starts saying that they're bachelors in stats. Oh, I did a full-time in BI for a year. I was an intern at data science for this and that. And then when it comes to me, the professor is like, oh, what do you do? Well, yeah, I was a business major and a recruiter for 2 years. And the guy just stares at me. It's like, haha. It's like, what happens? But it's going to happen. It's going to work. It's going to work out. Don't worry about that. You just got to put in a little bit more time.
Thank you so much.
Just want to quickly add a point. I just shared a link related to a YouTube video that talks about the one and only data science project you need. I totally with Ken in terms of Kaggle is a really good resource, but if you, and I'm very certain that MSCA program will kind of prepare you a lot of very practical and industry-oriented data science projects as well. But if you're looking for some additional resource that you can kind of take your project experience to the next level, you can definitely check out this video to see if it's helpful or not in your case.
Okay, thank you. I will.
Hello, this is Maggie. Sorry to interrupt. Can I ask a question now?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay, so I have a question related to searching for an internship, because I know that a lot of openings is like coming through right now. Like, would you suggest us to like apply it right now, even though like a lot of programming skills are not very well prepared yet? Because I heard a lot of people they're applying and they said that it's good to practice on like an actual interviews. What's your like point of view for that?
I can take that first, and then Ken feel free to add anything you feel is necessary. So my personal take on this is yes, to apply at this current time. The first reason is there will be, I think, 1 month or 2 months if you successfully pass the resume screen and you receive an feedback from HR. So you can start apply for those positions and then still have the time for you to get ready for those technical skills. And the second thing is, at least in my case, I want to just I want to just grab any opportunities I have to kind of apply as many jobs that I can find. So yeah, I don't think that's I understand your concern. I think that makes a lot of sense. But I think you can get those skill set. You can get those skill set prepared right before the interview comes.
Yeah, so I'm going to add just a little bit about that, Maggie. So based on my past experience, especially last year, A lot of times online, you would read things that talks a little bit about like, hey, why don't you just apply to smaller companies at first and then apply to bigger companies? So you could use the smaller companies as test cases. And then when it comes to the bigger companies, you'll be able to go through. So you kind of like line them out to apply for that. I personally don't recommend that. And the reason is because, especially with right now with the recession coming in, the headcounts are really low for these internship positions for different companies. And with the headcounts being that low, it's better to apply as soon as possible before they fill out all those headcounts. I know a few people who's able to pass all the interviews, but at the end of the day, they're like, hey, great candidate. We'll see you back in full time. Can't give you the offer right now just because of the headcount. Don't want that to happen to you, and don't recommend that. So that is one thing that is really important. So if you can apply as soon as possible, that's great. And also, just so you kind of understand, I'm not too sure how familiar you are with the recruiting cycles. So from a recruitment perspective, it's really important to understand that November. So right now, October is when summer just, think of it from a personal perspective, right? October is when summer just ended. People are going crazy during the summer. October, they're like, all right, let's take a mindful reset. I'm going to come back. I'm going to start looking for candidates. That's how recruiter works. So during October time, they're looking for candidates like crazy. Start of November, they still are, but most of them are scheduling interviews. Late November, Thanksgiving kicking in, they're like, you know what? Vacation's going to be good. So let's pause on that a little bit. December kicks in, their brains are turned off. Like Christmas time, they're going down. So what I'm trying to say is, if you apply now and they don't get a chance to see your profile in October, the next time they're going to see it, potentially late November, potentially early December or late November. If you don't apply now, you apply in November, the next time they're going to see it, put 3 months on that. January, mid-January, late January, that's when you're going to start getting responses. So you definitely want to put into some type of holiday aspect into that. But other than that, yeah, like I said, overall, I would try to apply right now.
Oh, thank you so much for giving the tips. And another question is related to like also searching for an internship. Like what if I couldn't find a internship like before summer? Is there any recommendation to do like maybe other volunteering work or projects on that? Yeah.
First of all, I think if you're here in this special session, I think you'll find an intern because you already start preparing. Like no matter what, you're here. Like for those who aren't here, they might have class, sure, but if you're here for today's session, I think something great's going to happen. And before tomorrow, like next May. And if you think about it, all the way until next May, there's 8 months, right? And that's a lot of days, right? I'm pretty bad at math. I can't calculate how many days, but that's a lot of days. So talking about the second part, when it comes to projects, I personally would recommend doing Kaggle projects. That's just personally me. I just like doing that in competitions. If you can, find a few friends who are willing to do that with you, because they looks great on resumes. And honestly, like what Mingtao has said and mentioned on YouTube as well, there are certain YouTubers who recommend specific type of data projects that kind of talks a lot about some of the basic, how should I put this, that gets you a really solid core or basics. So when you're able to talk about those projects during your interview, it shows and represents really well. But yeah, those are the two things I personally would recommend.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm sorry, just a
Just
last question. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I just like to add a tiny point on Ken's answer. I think, Maggie, this is the exact question that I had this spring. So I'm looking for projects to kind of boost my resume. And in summer, I realized that, or let me put it in this way. I'd like to share my understanding of like the drawbacks of those volunteering projects or like research projects that you kind of find or that you spend time working with your professors. Is that most of the tech stack you're going to use is just PostgreSQL or even pandas, and nothing else more than that. Like it's very difficult for you to have the chance, or even impossible for you to practice, say, statistical modeling, machine learning thing, A/B test, or even A/B test is definitely impossible to find for you to find a job in like volunteering organization. In this case, you might want to think about whether the time you put into this type of project is worthwhile or not. And if it's worthwhile to put such a volunteering project on your resume, because otherwise you will have a lot of amazing things to write on resume, internships, your other course projects you've done throughout your your master program, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing. I have one last question related to time management. I just want to know how you guys balance between like heavy loaded coursework and like job searching and interview preparation.
I can share mine. I usually spend, I think, well, around 10 hours to 20 hours per week on all the things related to job interviews, getting a job. So something like job searching for positions and mocking with my friends, practicing legal algorithm problems, something like that. I would tend to put higher priorities on this type of things over coursework, but that's a personal thing. I'm not sure if that's applicable on your case or not.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you like very clearly. Did you say you spend 10 to 20 hours per week related to job searching or preparation?
Yeah, something like that. And
okay.
Normally I will, when I'm tired like writing homeworks and stuff, I would just like search some positions that I want to apply and just apply for it, because it's like I don't need to think during the application process.
Okay, thank you so much. So did you say like you put an emphasis on job over coursework? I think like I didn't hear that very clearly.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay, thank you so much. Because I'm still trying to find a balance in between.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite social media platform, Maggie? Do you use any like social media like Instagram or like TikTok?
Oh yeah, I use I think I use Instagram and
use Instagram?
Yeah.
Cool. Do you feel like you use Instagram quite a lot?
Not very much till now.
Not very much till now. So here's the thing. Here's how I'm not very an organized person. I'm when I compare it to Mingtao and Alan, honestly, I'm really bad when it comes to job search. So I'm going to give you an example of mine. So how I do it. For every 15 minutes or 30 minutes I spend on a social media platform, I spend half of that on my job search. Which means is I spend 3 hours on Instagram today. Well, I got to spend 1 hour and 30 minutes on my job search today. So I personally, that's what I do, because I just want to make sure I feel a little bit better. So that's the best way for me. But if you were asking about if I put work or coursework, which one more? Right now, at the first quarter of MSCA, honestly, the coursework is not going to be that hard. It's most of the classes are not too hard. So I would put work before the coursework. And I promise you won't regret that, because I regretted that of not putting coursework first, not putting work over coursework during my first quarter, because as the quarters move on, it's going to get harder.
Okay, thank you so much for your tips. I think very useful. So like how much fun I had, I have to pay it back.
That's right. If you don't want a job, I don't care, but like, you know, if you want a job, you know, that's how it works, right? Like even I'm working, honestly, I'm working right now. I have a part-time right now. This is fun for me. So I gotta go back to work right after this.
Oh, thank you so much for your time and all the useful information. I'll see you in next meeting.
Cool. All right.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
You too.
Have a
Thank
great day.
you.
Bye-bye. All right, I gotta go too. Thanks, Mingtao. You can just
Bye-bye.
finish
Thanks,
up
Ming.
the recording and
Oh yeah.
just if you can save that recording first and then I can